What is up, guys? I am here today. I'm hanging out on Twitter and I see a new archetype drop that I have to talk about. I'm going to be talking about this archetype from a domain format perspective. So if you're not familiar with that, I have a video on how to play if you want to check it out. So just to be clear, I'm not talking about advanced format when I'm speaking on my opinions of these cards. How are they going to do advanced? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I've played quite a bit domain though, and these cards have me excited. So what are they? These cards, the archetype so far is being called Rika. I don't know if that's the translation or what it end up being called, but that's what I'm going to be calling it for this video, the Rika archetype. So like I said, I was hanging out on Twitter and I see this from Ready for Duel, and it looks like their source is Yugioh organization. I'm sure everybody's heard of that website. So let's get into it. This archetype seems like it's based around its own link monsters. So far, let's start off with the main deck monsters. Now, one thing about all these main deck monsters that I've noticed so far is that all of them have a built-in special summon, which is just absolutely key. The chances of these cards becoming deck masters themselves. And they mentioned three monster types within the cards. So all three of them could cover the bases for all of them have the same domain pretty much, except for their different attributes. Now, this card I think is in contention for probably the best card to pick as a deck master for this type of deck. This card's called Rika no Marikobe. Level 1, 0 attack, 0 defense plant, earth monster. Has a restriction on summoning itself once per turn. And you can only use the second effects once per turn. So hard once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand to the graveyard. Not too bad. And from the way it's worded, it does look like it's a summon condition. It doesn't seem to start a chain. So that's awesome. That makes this thing really easy to summon, and it doesn't eat up your normal summon, which is huge for this. And then it says if it's normal or special summoned, you can add up to 2 Rika cards. I'm gonna say Rika a lot. You can add up to 2 Rika cards with different names that are banished and or in your deck to your hand, except itself, then banish a Rika card from your hand, and then you're locked into insect, plants, reptile types. So I'm almost getting like Tri-Brigade number 2 type vibes from this archetype. You typically see insect and plants paired together, but the reptiles being thrown in is kind of weird. It's different. I like it. Adding 2 cards in a combination from deck or banished to your hand, this is amazing. In domain format, you really want to be able to recycle your resources. Building big, strong boards on turn 1 is not the most important thing to do in domain. Being able to keep the gas going and cards coming and being able to make some plays on your turns, far more important. And this card is so bonkers for that. The banishing a card from your hand, as you'll see, isn't a permanent thing, and it's not necessarily a downside. So far that's all I got to say on this one. Let's take a look at the other 2 main deck monsters. All right, Rika no Yahazu Kamakiri. Level 3, 1500 attack, 0 defense, light insect. Has the same restrictions as the first. Has a built-in summon by placing one of your banished Ryza types to the bottom of your deck. So banishing off of that first one is not that big of a deal when you can use this to put it back. Then its other ability is if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a Rika monster, you can target one level 4 or lower Rika type monster in your graveyard, except itself, special summon defense position. So it seems like these are designed to be link climbing, cards, and this does that pretty well. Not much to say about this guy. Let's take a look at the third one. Rika no Yoroi Tokage. Level 4, dark reptile, 0 defense, or 0 attack, 2300 defense. Same restrictions as the first 2, and its special summon is through banishing one of the Rika types from your graveyard. So, like I said, all their summon conditions aren't that bad. The first one, sending one from hand to graveyard. This one takes a banish and puts it on the bottom of your deck. And this one banishes from graveyard. So they just kind of, there's a loop going on there with these cards. He has an ignition effect. You can discard one of the Rika types, then target face-up monster your opponent controls, except a Rika type, return to the hand. It does target, but there's not too many insect, plant, or reptile types that I run into in domain, so this seems like it's gonna be pretty good. So all 3 of these main deck monsters have different levels, so I don't particularly think they're gonna be used for like Xyz plays, but those are the main deck ones. So let's move on to the extra decks. Fire Plant, Link 2, 1600 attack. Takes 2 monsters, including 1 Rika type monster, pretty generic. Locks you into Rika types. Has an ignition effect. You can target a Rika monster in your graveyard, special summon defense position. Up we go. We're just link climbing. That's what this archetype does, I guess. And then if it's in your graveyard, you can target a Rika type monster you control, place it on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, special summon this card. More recursion. Yeah, the fact that it doesn't have to be a Rika monster, but any insect, plant, or reptile, I like quite a lot. So this clearly facilitates link climbing. Next up, we got the Link 3 Wind Insect 2300 attack. I didn't even say the last one, did I? Raika no Uokami Nushi. Interesting arrows, to say the least. 2+ monsters, including one of the Raika types. Again, seems pretty easy to summon. It doesn't take 2 of those types, it only takes 1. You can banish 2 Raika type monsters from your graveyard, add a Raika trap from your deck to your hand. Again, banishing is not that big of a cost, considering that some of the Raikas bring back banished Raika types. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target a Raika type monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck. If you do special summon this card, you're locked into Raika types. Link climb we go. You can trade out a monster with a link 1 value for a monster with a link 3 value. Next up is the link 4 Raika. Hold on, I gotta say this slowly first. Raika no Kusari Gami. Raika no Kusari Gami. Fire, Reptile, link 4, 2900 attack. Pretty generic, you only need 1 Raika type to make this. Has a very interesting defensive ability here. If your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make both players unable to activate monster effects in the hand for the rest of the turn. This makes me scratch my head about how good this is. Because I'm thinking in my head, by the time you make this, your opponent would have hand trapped by now, right? Getting all the way up to a link 4, doing all that searching with the main deck monsters, you would have been hit by a hand trap by now. And if your opponent doesn't do anything, this doesn't stop something like Nibiru. It's interesting to say the least. I'm intrigued by it. And I'm seeing a theme now with the second abilities of all these link monsters. If it's in your graveyard, you can target a Raika type monster you control, place on the bottom of the deck, you special on this card. Then you're locked into Raika types. We got one more. It's looking like this is the boss monster. Link 5, Earth Insect, 3300 attack. This one does take 2 Raika type monsters or more. So you can't use anything else to make this. Yeah, can't be using scapegoat tokens or anything. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck and or extra deck, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field. Not too shabby. Oh man, this is great. Non-targeting destroy 2 monsters. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know if it's good enough just thinking about the cards that we were looking over previously, it seems like it's pretty easy to climb into this straight from the level 1 monster. Could be incredibly actually I want to check something. So this is fire, this is wind, oops, and this is also fire. So it's pretty cool that these aren't incredibly susceptible to things like bestials. That's definitely good. Yeah, if this sticks around, your opponent they can't just start summoning things while this is in play. You'll just completely stop them. They'll have to deal with this. His second ability is, if this card's in your graveyard, you can target one of your Raika type monsters, place on the bottom of the deck, you do special summon this card. I guess it's pretty cool that putting in all the work to climb up to this, it's just going to be sticking around unless they banish it. And if they do banish it, you're going to be able to get it back. I like this a lot. This whole archetype so far is pretty cool to me. I like mentioning plant, insect, and reptiles. I don't know what reptiles would be playing with this stuff. I just saw my buddy do some pretty nasty stuff with Octo Addicts, so maybe try that out with these. Who knows? But they got some spells and whatnot. This is the first one. Continuous spell. Okay, I gotta say this slow. Raika Ryuran Kurui Saki. How's that? Can only use the second effect once per turn. So hard once per turn on the second. Gives a buff to all Raika type monsters by 300 and debuffs all non-Raika type monsters by 300. And the second effect is you can activate one of these effects. Add a Raika monster from your deck to your hand, then discard a card. Or special summon a Raika monster that is banished or in your hand or graveyard in defense position. What in the world? Man, holy. It special summons from hand, graveyard, or banish. This is amazing. I'm infamous in the Discord for highly valuing recurability, and this is just like, I absolutely am going to try this out in Domain. Somebody in the Discord already said that they're adding all the cards to untap. Yeah, amazing card. Oh man, last one, unfortunately. Okay. Raika Dairen Kubikarimai. Normal trap. You can only use blah blah. Target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Raika type link monsters you control with different types. Destroy them. Hold up. Were the links all different types? All right, what do we got here? Fire, plant, insect, reptile, insect. Okay, so yeah, I didn't realize that all the links were one of each different ones. Target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Raika type link monsters you control with different types to destroy them. I don't like that you have to have a monster in play for this to be removable, but could pop up to 3 cards. Not too bad. And then if a face-up Raika type monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this is in your graveyard, except the turn it's sent there, you can banish this card, then target one monster your opponent controls to destroy it. So getting a little extra value out of the graveyard. Oh, not too shabby if I do say so. I wanted to look at something. Yeah, I was checking to see if they shuffled Raika cards, but it's specifically Raika type monsters. So yeah, I mean, like in Domain, this isn't amazing. There's no way to recur it within the archetype so far right now, but I mean, I I would probably run it if I was playing the deck. So yeah, somebody mentioned in the Twitter thread that yeah, Time Tearing Morganite is a perfect card for this deck. All the main deck monsters don't activate to summon, they're built-in summons, so Time Tearing Morganite seems just fine. Especially because like the first thing I'm thinking of to pair with them, Trap Tricks, I guess. Most of the Trap Tricks have on summon effects. There's one I can think of that specials from hand by activating, the one that protects your back row. But in general, getting an additional normal, drawing 2 cards, that's all just awesome stuff that you want to be doing in Domain. This is already a Domain all-star, I would say. I'm so excited for Rika, Raikus, and Avalon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really, I mean, I guess I could look up, see some stuff people are pairing with it, huh? Ooh, Calamity Seed, is that what it's called? Okay, so I said all those Japanese names for no reason. These are apparently called Calamity Seeds, which is interesting. Not sure I got Calamity Seed vibes from all of these, but overall, I like this. This almost seems like tailor-made for Domain format, which is kind of crazy to me. So I'm happy to see this type of stuff when it comes along. I did take to Reddit to see what type of stuff other people were suggesting, and I also thought of some other stuff myself. So let's go over those things. This first one is bonkers. Okay, so you know how I said all the links can target a Calamity Seed type monster and return to your deck, right? This card is crazy. Serpentine Princess. Who would have thought this card would be seeing play today? If it's returned from your field to the deck, you can special summon a level 3 lower monster from your deck to your side of the field. This is not once per turn. Crazy. Pretty cool combo in my opinion. You could get this out multiple times with things like Last Will. Excited to throw this in the deck for sure. Resonance Insect. If it's summon from field to the graveyard, so like for a link summon, you can add level 5 or higher insect type monster from your deck to your hand, of which there are plenty to pick from. And if it's banished, you can send an insect type from your deck to the graveyard. Pretty useful. There's all kinds of combos with this card, right? Neither effect is once per turn, so that's cool. Some of the bigger cards you can get is something like Beargram. This guy can dark hole everything except for insects and plants, clear the board. I remembered from Photon Hypernova that there was quite a bit plant/insect support. This was one of the first guys I thought about. This guy, Foolish Burials, an insect or a plant monster on summon, and can make something a tuner. A Circle of Fairies gives you an extra normal summon, helps you extend more, gains you a little bit of life, which is not negligible. You could use Fairy Ant as an easy way to get out those synchros. All it needs is an insect or a plant in your graveyard and it specials and summons itself for free. I would definitely try and play this card. I've been wanting to play this card, so me personally, I'm throwing this in. And from Photon Hypernova, there was 2 pretty easy ways to get that, or sorry, the ultimate great insect. Infinite Antlion and Bio Insect Armor are both ways to equip something to an insect monster in order to kind of contact fusion this card out. Humongous Hive Hedgeman. If an insect is special summoned, you can special summon this card. During the end phase, each player can special summon an insect from their hand or graveyard but negate its effects. 2 archetypes that I think a lot of people are going to think of first when thinking about the Calamity Seed archetype is something like Trap Tricks, because they're all earth, they're all plants and insects, and also Bee Trooper. I've personally never played with Bee Trooper all that much, so I do know that they banish a lot of stuff. So I guess if you're playing all the Bee Troopers, you'd also want to run even more ways of recycling your banished stuff, like Dimension Fusion, something like that. But yeah, the coolest tech I personally think is going to be with Serpentine Princess. That's just me though. Well guys, I hope those ideas give you something to start off with. I'm excited to build with this archetype. I know a lot of the guys in the Discord are excited to build with this archetype. Is there anything I missed? Is there any card you instantly thought of that would combo well with the Calamity Seed archetype? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like me talking about new archetypes as they're spoiled, I would love to hear about that, because new archetype discussions are always really exciting from a Domain perspective for me personally. So if you liked this, let me know, and I'll try to do it next time an archetype is revealed. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.